All right, everyone, welcome back to the Land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Sunday Site Visit 58, and today we will continue our exploration of the ancient structures around Luxor. This time to examine the so-called, quote-unquote, light bulb and the melted staircase at the Temple of Hathor at Dendera. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube, and don't forget to click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please like, comment, share, and stay tuned if you want to help support this channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage that you will not see anywhere else. Check out the Land of Chem members only channel and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for food reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's intro, so without further ado, let's get right to it. But first, a quick announcement. The second 2024 Land of Chem Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Tour is on, and bookings are now available. If you are interested in joining to see the Egyptian pyramids for yourself on this epic adventure experience coming up in early winter this year, please send me an email to contact@thelandofchem.com with the subject line Egypt Tour 3, and I will send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. Thank you all so much, and I will see you soon here in Egypt. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. And today we will explore the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, one of the most well-preserved sites from ancient Egypt that features some unusual chambers inside of this structure, such as this area here, known as the laboratory. We also investigated some critical exterior components, like this well chamber entrance here, and another sacred lake, as you can see here. But the main objective for today's expedition was to do a thorough on-site examination, interpretation, and explanation of the so-called, quote-unquote, melted staircase and the Dendera, quote-unquote, light bulb. And I won't spoil the surprise, as everything is revealed in depth during today's footage. So now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I hope you enjoy Sunday Site Visit 58 from the Temple of Hathor in Dendera. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is day 4 on our expedition to explore the ancient sites here in Luxor and Abydos. Day 1, Luxor Temple. Day 2, Karnak Temple. Day 3, the Temple of Seti I in Abydos, and special permission into the Osireion. And today we are here at the Hathor Temple in Dendera. As you can see there in the distance, so we can take a look at this so-called Dendera light bulb and these melted staircase. There's also another very interesting area of the site known as the laboratory, which is of course of particular interest to me. As always, my lovely wife Alexa from Ancient Odysseys.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, she's been waiting all week for this one. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go. All right, here we go. And our guide was telling us that a lot of this structure, specifically these columns over here that you can see, are from the, well, say hello to our exceptional guides, by the way, Tito and Amr. They've done an amazing job this week, not only hosting us here in Luxor, but also an incredible wealth of information that they've had for us. But a lot of the temple is from the Greek-Roman era, but he confirmed that the structure is built on top of a much more ancient site. Some interesting artifacts out here. This one being clearly different than some of the others. You can see a lot of this stuff is very Greek Roman style pillars and columns. And we're going to start over here. Here's the main temple complex area. guess let's start here. All right, so it looks to be a pathway around the central chamber.
Fires here.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that the Hathor temple here in Dendara is the most significant is because it is so well preserved. You can see the reliefs on the ceiling, still very much intact. The walls, much less restoration work here as compared to what we saw yesterday at the Temple of Seti I. All right, so now we're gonna head into the main structure. I'm a little buddy. Hey, handsome. Oh. Hey, temple cat. Hey, buddy. Hi. Hi, sweet boy. Say hello. Hey, buddy. Get up here. Hey, handsome. Hi. 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 Hey, Cooper. Hi. It's a cute little guy. Or girl. The guardian of the temple. Yeah. All right.
right. Oh. Again, the state of preservation in the temple is extremely impressive. And you can look at diagrams all day so that you can anticipate what to expect inside of these structures and temples. But then seeing it in person is a completely different story. And look at all that Egyptian blue. Guy might be following us. You gonna be our guide for today? You gonna be on Egyptian trash cats? You're not a trash cat, you're a temple cat. Meow. All right, so the first area of interest that we're going to investigate is through this first hallway. And there's a series of chambers inside of this area. Two. Three. And we're going to go inside each one of them, and I can explain the nomenclature used to describe each one. Total of 6. 3 on each side. So this first one here. All right, so this chamber is known as the laboratory. And they call it the laboratory because these are all offerings of what they call perfumes. And that this was possibly a chamber used for distillation and preparatory operations for herbal distillation, essential oils, perfumes. And of course, all of these offerings being made to the goddess Hathor, who we see all over the temple. Pretty interesting. I was looking to see if we could find any evidence of, like a distillation apparatus or some sort of chemical equipment. But it looks like more, it's just the offerings of the oil containers, perhaps the raw herbs or materials themselves, containers with perfumes. This is an interesting one here. But I don't see anything that looks like it could be an apparatus for the preparation. Pretty cool.
This is the sky goddess. Note, and you can see the water, the primordial water. Catch it?
I see that she's making an arc.
Yeah. And then it's the sun early morning, like the beetle. It's raising on Leo. Can you see the Leo? It is the first month of the new year. In front of the Leo, we have a woman with the star above the head. It is the Osiris star. As soon as the Osiris appears, they're going to be waiting 7 days for the flood. And that was the new year. And then you go behind, you can see the snake. Above me direct, you can see the scale.
Oh, it's Libra.
Yeah. And then the scorpion, senator. Yeah, they are the 6 month here. The first 6 months. And from the other side, we're going to see the other 6 months. Down that line, you see 4. There are 15 folds. It's a presentation for the weeks. A week was 22 days. So 18 minus 5.
There we go. So I can't zoom on the GoPro, but our guide was just explaining that this is the goddess Nut, the primordial waters extending across the ceiling here. And these are signs of the zodiac. Yes, you have Leo, Capricorn, Pisces, Cancer, Gemini, etc. And this black square here is the original appearance of the temple ceiling, completely covered in soot before the restoration that revealed all of these beautiful colors still preserved underneath. So the entire temple ceiling looked like that, covered with soot. And of course, Dendandara is really famous for its zodiac and calendar. And here you can see the moon, which is placed on a pedestal. And this design is exactly like an Egyptian mirror. So they knew that the moon doesn't produce its own light, that it's reflecting light from the sun. So it's depicted as being a mirror. Here are 14 days, half of the lunar calendar. So this side of the temple has 180 days. This portion here has 14 lunar nights. So half on this side of the temple. It's an interesting creation myth depicted here where 4 frogs mated with 4 snakes in the creation of the universe. And then here on the other side of the temple, we have the other 14 days. And the remainder of the solar calendar. Of course, this is not my usual area of interest, or certainly no expertise, but you know, I've always been interested in astrology and the constellations, and there's certainly a lot of knowledge depicted on the ceiling of this temple. And here you can see another, so this is a bull. And it's black because it was left in the original condition. So you can imagine this whole ceiling being covered with that black soot, and the meticulous efforts that would be required to restore this. So, oh, this little guy's following me around. Hey, buddy. The star of today's episode. Alright, so resuming our investigations of the chambers in this area. This one here was the laboratory. This one here is known as the treasury. You could see offerings to the goddess here being made of gold and other treasures. The next two are the libation room and the harvest room. And the final two are known as offering rooms. So you can see what looks like a liquid being poured from this container. Again, the offerings of libations. This one here, the harvest room, but unfortunately most of these are quite destroyed. All right, so our guide was pointing out, again, sort of evidence of older construction and repurposing of the structure. You can see here that these columns, the base portion is red granite from here down. The remainder is sandstone that has been decorated with all of these ornate hieroglyphs. So all indications would suggest that this was originally an older structure that has since been repurposed. And the last two chambers in this area, the offering rooms. Again, a lot of these hieroglyphs having been defaced, but they do have some nice pristine ones here. Inception. Some Ankhs and Jed Pillar. Alright, one second. I hear I'm being summoned. Alright, so we're here inside of this offering chamber. And again, shout out to Alexa from Ancient Odysseys. Very, very good eye. So she noticed these pieces of stone here. You see the shape of these stones. And our guide just informed us that these are the tops of columns. So these pieces of stone still go down below the foundation of this entire chamber. Columns, you'd imagine, this ceiling is probably 25 or 30 feet tall. So imagine a column filling this entire space here. If this is the top of a column, it probably goes down another, 20, 25 feet, 30 feet down below this chamber. Let's see this one here. So there is a lot more excavation work that could be done at this site to determine how old this thing really is. All right, so we just finished investigating this area of the temple here. And I want to give you your first glimpse That's it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Your quote unquote melted staircase. And some of you are going to be very, very disappointed when I present my final conclusion and analysis about this. There's more of it here. Remember, this is sandstone. Hey! And we'll go ahead and walk up around the corner here. And there's more of it. More staircase here. Okay, so remember that this is basically a spiral staircase down. And people people have been walking over this for thousands and thousands of years. And we're going to do an up-close analysis as we walk down the whole staircase here in just a minute. At this point, I'll put in another example from the Leaning Tower in Italy, showing a marble staircase made of much, much harder stone that displays this exact same type of weathering. See the original height of the staircase here, and how the whole thing has just been weathered away over thousands and thousands of years. But we're going to go all the way up and then walk down so you can see the entire thing. There's also more on this side. And trust me, I wanted it to be something different. I thought maybe that there had been a spill of caustic chemicals, or maybe it looked like geopolymer that had been poured and didn't dry and set correctly. But I can tell you, looking at these things firsthand, it's just natural weathering. I hate to break it to you, and I know some of you are going to argue and be very disappointed at that explanation. It was absolutely zero quote-unquote melting, and this is another one of those unfortunate myths that are perpetuated in the lost ancient high technology community that's some sort of evidence of nuclear warfare and blah blah blah. Nope. It's just some weathered, very, very ancient stairs. There's Alexa taking a close look as well. Did you see the other side?
I didn't get to yet.
All right.
But this, it looks like natural wear to me.
Yeah.
It's made of sandstone, right?
Sandstone. It's all sandstone.
Which is very soft.
Very soft. All right, so now we're here in the inner sanctum of the Hathor temple. And our guide was saying that there was these housings here in the floor housed the boat that is depicted here. And this is all depicting a ritual, the opening of the gate, which you can see here. Again, this gate into the afterlife. A lot of work went into decorating all of this. And Alexa was pointing out the huge housings here. You can see there's a big tube drill in here in this big housing. So there would have been a huge door. Here, another door hinge. Door hinge. And the frame of a huge door that locked into place here. And we go down. Cool. Alright, so now our guide Amr and Tito are taking us down into the crypt. And it looks like there's chambers on each side of this. And some of these have accesses into other chambers here. There was another one that I saw that had another staircase, leading up to something like this. So it appears there's other chambers within these. There's another one here. Yeah, here's one that has this staircase going up into a chamber up there. It doesn't appear to be very big. It's maybe this from here to here. But there is another chamber up in here. I would imagine the same is true of this here. Something similar to this. Careful.
Rickety stairs. Small chamber.
Yep. It appears that there's several of those, and
It's tiny, but highly decorated.
this one has no fear. She will crawl or climb into any little hole.
Not small enough. Come up here with me.
Come on.
Cut. are there. So let's go. Looks like we're gonna crawl a little bit.
Yeah, so as Alexa was saying, this is one of the crypts that is located here in the Dendara Temple complex. And this is the area of the structure where the so-called Dendara Lightbulb is located. And this is the part that you probably don't see on any other channels. So I had no idea it was like this to get down there.
Do you want a light?
Go ahead, we're good. Let the people see what it's like. Alright, so like I'm on my knees here. Crawling through this. Okay. Okay.
So there are 11 crypts here in Danann.
Alright, so we just came in from there. Some little dead end passage there where Alexa is. Oh, okay, here it is.
That's interesting.
All right, so I wanted to closely examine the series of hieroglyphs and symbols that lead us into the area that features this quote-unquote Dendara Lightbulb series. This one I find to be pretty interesting. There's a vessel here, pouring or emanating something into these containers. Okay. Now we're gonna go get Amr. See if you can bring him down here. I don't know if he's allowed to. They may not. You know, as with a lot of these things, they don't let the guides come down in here. But this is the area of this crypt that has these series of light bulbs, quote unquote light bulbs. I have this one here. And then there are two depicted over here. Now, looking at this from a very technical aspect. Okay, let's start here. You see a lotus here with the snake coming out of it. You can see the lotus on this sort of base here, which appears to also be a lotus. So we have the snake coming out of the lotus. And then, further down here, we have the exact same imagery. The lotus flower, the snake coming out of it. The lotus flower with the snake coming out of it. Here there is no enclosure around the snake. Here there is the enclosure around the snake. Right? So this one here, you see the enclosure and the snake being supported by this jed pillar. But over here, it's not the same. Each one of these is different. Okay, so here on this one, you can see that the arms are supporting the snake itself. Okay, the base of the pillar, the two arms supporting the snake. On this one, the jed pillar with the two arms in a completely different configuration supporting this enclosure. Here, there is no jed pillar. It is this figure here that is reporting, or supporting rather, this enclosure. Okay, so I just had our guide Amr come down and explain the conventional interpretation of these symbols to us. So the first one that caught my eye is this one. And in all of these hieroglyphic inscriptions, we keep seeing this one, which is Nabu, the symbol for gold. So there's an inscription for gold associated with all of these hieroglyphic depictions. All right, so now I'll resume explaining our guide's interpretation of this. And of course, he's also heard alternative explanations of this, and according to conventional dynastic Egyptology, there is no specific explanation for exactly what this means. Okay, so this here is a necklace or an adornment, a magic piece that was worn by pharaohs and gods. So we have something that represents magic here and symbolic of deity. This is representing a boat here with the solar disk. And he was saying that this is not original. This is not hieroglyphs. This is graffiti in the center here. It doesn't resemble any of the other hieroglyphs that I've seen in Egypt. So this, not an original part. It's graffiti. Okay, so we have Hathor here, the four pillars of Hathor, and these representing the temple, or the gates into the temple. So there is something coming out of this vessel and flowing in to the temple itself. Okay. He described it as being energy coming from this vessel, flowing into the gates of the temple itself. Now, of course, that is not the conventional interpretation. That's just kind of what he has heard other people attempting to describe what they see here. And again, the symbol for gold here. Okay, so let's take this as a symbolic representation of the entire temple itself. Sitting on a foundation of magic, okay, physics and chemistry. Physics and chemistry also supporting the sun, and the sun being connected to the process of the entire temple. We have the vessel over here. And the vessel distributing electromagnetic energy, electric fields, etc. into the temple itself. Okay? Interesting interpretation. That's just my interpretation. Given that there is no conventional explanation, and me sitting here for the first time attempting to decipher what this could have possibly meant. So the sun interfacing with the temple through magic, and this vessel here, maybe it represents lightning. Who knows what this vessel means? But the vessel distributing electric fields or electromagnetic energy into the temple itself. So this here is certainly indicative to me of chemistry of some sort, chemistry and physics, magic. Also being associated with gold. Okay, so here you can see some hieroglyphs that have this same vessel here and here. The same vessel is the exact same vessel that we see here. But this time the vessel isn't shooting these rays out, it's shooting a blob out. Like this. Okay, this blob is very similar to what we'll see over here in just a second. The shape of it. You can see this bulb, sort of bulb-shaped blob coming out of the vessel. All right, so now we'll move on to this portion. All right, so we have the same type of boat motif here. This time with the head of it being the lotus flower. Our guide explained that the lotus flower is emanating life force, represented by the snake. Here, again, we have gold. And Nebu, gold. Again, so there's two inscriptions for gold in this depiction of the emanation of the life force in creation. And if we want to extrapolate even further, okay, life force being the electricity. Electricity is the life force of all creation in the universe. So this certainly perhaps encodes esoteric knowledge of the electric life force that permeates all creation. The spirit, the electric force that animates us and animates the entire universe here. Okay. So now we move on to the next stage. Where this exact same depiction of the lotus here, emanating that life force, and this is described as being possibly like an embryonic sac. So again, the manifestation of the universe, the entire universe being symbolized here, being supported by the backbone of Osiris, the god Osiris. Here on this side, the backbone of Osiris, the Jed pillar supporting this electric life force created within the lotus. But again, here the Jed pillar and the arms are supporting the snake. Arms are coming out of the top. Here, the arms are coming out of the side and supporting the sac. Let's call this a representation of the physical universe. Permeated by the electricity of life. Okay, here there is no Jed pillar. It's a different symbol. Again, still supporting this same embryonic sac, possibly representing the expansion of the universe from the original point of creation being sustained by this electric life force. I do like that interpretation of the snake being symbolic of a spiritual representation of the electric life force that permeates all creation, which is indeed true. Again, we see more symbols for gold here. Nabu, Nabu, Nabu. So I will say, after careful assessment, I do not think that this is a light bulb. If it is a light bulb or a device, the depiction of the device would be the same on all three inscriptions. You don't have this stand or your electrical power connecting into the filament on one, and then also supporting. Okay, so again, let's go with the conventional. If this is a light bulb, okay, so this would be glass. It's not how devices work. Your light bulb stand doesn't also touch the filament on the inside of the glass. So this is not glass. And if this is a device and it works with this as your power source of the light bulb, okay, so again, the power source of the light bulb, it's connected into this device by a wire. The wire shoots out the electricity, and this is a huge light bulb. You have any idea how impractical a light bulb of this size would be? What is somebody walking around with a 10-foot long white light bulb? That's nonsense. This is not a light bulb. However, I think it does encode very important esoteric knowledge about the electric life force that sustains all creation, also being connected to this symbol for the Jed pillar, which I have a theory or hypothesis about the function of the Jed pillar that'll be coming up very soon. Again, you don't have a device that's configured like this, and then configured like this, and then this is completely replaced. There is no Jed pillar on this one. So I can now conclusively say that I do not think that this is a light bulb. However, I do think that it does contain very significant esoteric information about
the electric life force that sustains all creation. This creation, of course, being associated with gold. Because I do believe that the snake is a symbol that represents electricity. But I don't think this is a giant light bulb. And the different configurations of each one of these, it's depicting a different process in the manifestation of the physical universe. Here, the Jed pillar supporting the life force. Here, the Jed pillar supporting the manifestation and expansion of the physical universe. And I'm imagining that this is Nut, also supporting the expansion of the physical universe. So it took me some time to wrap my head around this. Again, a 15-foot long giant light bulb makes absolutely no sense. And if they were depicting a device, the device would be configured in the same way. So again, it doesn't even plug into the Jed pillar. It's connected to Nut here. It's not connected to the Jed pillar. Here, this one isn't connected to anything. So if this was a cord, they would have depicted the cord connecting into this thing if they were attempting to depict a device. Here, there is no Jed pillar. There is no power source. This is Nut, the lotus emanating from Nut, the expansion of the electric life force within the universe. So certainly a very significant symbolic representation. So again, here, this is the beginning stages of what is later depicted here. And that's why I wanted to do a very careful assessment of the progression of symbols in here. Which I guarantee you that no one else on any Lost Ancient High Technology channel has even made the attempt to explain the series leading up to this. They come in here, oh, look at the light bulb. But they completely disregard the context of all the rest of these. But now that brings us back to this one, which, as I just said, I think these do contain very important symbolic information that demonstrates knowledge of electromagnetic forces, possibly electric fields, knowledge of physics and chemistry. Again, this is very similar to that embryonic sac. The bulb that was later utilized in that lotus and snake depiction. All right, so now we are going to exit the crypt and take a look at the quote-unquote melted staircase. All right, so here we go. Back up the quote-unquote melted staircase. And you can see on this lower portion, there's zero evidence of this being melted. This is sandstone.
that has gradually been weathered away over thousands and thousands of years of people walking on this staircase. And something a lot of people do not show is that this is a spiral staircase. Okay, turns around the corner here. Just walked up this way. Look at it, it's just erosion. Gradual weathering of the staircase. And people never show this area. They only show the area as we get to the top. So as I was doing some research on this before we got here, they're like, oh, evidence of nuclear war or lost ancient high technology plasma blast. That is absolute nonsense. This is normal weathering over thousands and thousands of years. And I wanted it to be something different, possibly poured geopolymer that didn't set properly, or maybe there was a spill of some acidic solutions that dissolved the staircase and left this pattern. But looking at these 2 flights of stairs, there's absolutely zero evidence of this being quote-unquote melted. Another fallacy promoted by the quote-unquote lost ancient high technology community. More clickbait. The melted staircase of Dendara. No. This is normal erosion. So there's no melting here. Stone does not melt like that. And again, I'll put in some pictures of the marble staircase in the Tower of Pisa in Italy that also displays this type of erosion. I'll put in as many examples as I can that show that this is just normal erosion over thousands of years of people using this stairway. It's just normal weathering. People favoring this path. You're not walking in the corner here. You're not walking in the corner over here. You're walking up this way. And as I've been walking up this, I find myself taking the exact same weathered path. There's nothing melted here. This is not melted. It's just gradually weathered away. Yeah, we've gone up several flights of twisting and turning stairs. So again, let's say if there was a chemical spill, you would have to have a constant flow of liquid down through here, an immense volume of liquid, and it would be flowing around the corners and leaving all of this other erosion, and you just don't see that. The only parts of the stairs that are eroded are like these parts, right, where people step on it. You can see here that there's a very beautiful depiction of the solar disk here. sun rays coming into the chamber, illuminating the passageway, the stars on the ceiling above, sun shining through the aperture to light up the entire staircase. I've still seen zero evidence of any melting. This is not melted. Again, you can see here the solar disk, rays of light, the stars. That's a beautiful feature of this aperture that lets light into the structure. And I'm sorry to disappoint you guys if you're looking for nuclear melted staircase, but you come to me as an expert on ancient technology, physics and chemistry, and I have to give you my honest assessment of these, which is why I was very deliberate and slow in my interpretation of the glyphs that we saw downstairs with the quote-unquote light bulb. I don't think it's a light bulb. Does it contain very important information about electricity and the operation of the universe? Yes. But it's not a 15-foot long glass light bulb. And this is it's just not melted. Stone doesn't melt like that. It's just erosion. And how many people have walked up this staircase over thousands and thousands of years? And nobody ever shows that it's a winding staircase. We've walked up the whole thing. We've gone up probably 6 flights of stairs so far. And people always just show the one area. It's a whole staircase. You can see here, it's just smooth and gradually eroded on this side because you're not hugging the corner over here. Who would walk in this area? You don't walk right up against squeeze right up against the wall here. Nobody walks over here. This is the area where you walk. I found myself taking the exact same path of the weathered areas as I walk up. And as I step on I'm stepping on this part, right, which is exactly where the weathering is. Here, I'm stepping on this part of the staircase where the weathering is. See more, it's just weathered all the way up to the top. See here, this has also been weathered away, this part here, because people step right here. So we've now reached the top of the temple. And there's the goddess Nut here. Again, more of this black, so they left a few areas so you can see what it looks like when it was. I will say, there are some profound acoustic properties in this chamber. And this looks down Alright, so here we have some what look to be depictions of the death of Osiris and the resurrection of Osiris. Possibly mummification. You see Anubis here. What looks to be Osiris. Ah, yes. So again, there's Osiris, the phallus, falcon.
Hathor in the middle, and then you can see Note. And here is the full zodiac. It's a replica one. The original piece has been stolen by the French 1820. It's based at the location of the stars and the planets, and some scholars says that those informations goes back to the time between 15,000 years BC to 30,000 years BC.
So do they have the original in a museum?
Louvre.
In the Louvre?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Because maybe those info goes against the church says. So the church says that the beginning of the humanity like 6 or 7,000 years BC. But here, the location of the stars and the planets, it's supposed to be from the time between 15,000 to 30,000 years BC. And you can see the full zodiac. And so here we have the Osiris resurrection.
Well, now I can really see and understand the Egyptian sentiment that all of the stolen artifacts need to be returned to their rightful owners, because that's really unfortunate defacing. And this is similar to the other chambers. I just saw the death and resurrection of Osiris. As you can see here depicted in these different scenes. Phallus, the falcon. Well, here I was expecting to see the beautifully painted Dendera zodiac. And you have this. To me, it looks very much like the Mayan Aztec calendar. Pretty cool. We're on our way up to the roof of the temple. Pretty impressive. The entrance area. All right, now we're going to head back down the other area of the stairway system. All right, and back down the other side of the quote-unquote melted staircase system. And this one is just less weathered. It still has that same gradual weathering happening here. I'm gonna walk down backwards so that you can see the weathering on each layer. Again, there's some weathering here. It's just not as significant as it is on the other side in the winding stairway. But these are still weathered too. You see how it's weathered over here and not weathered over here? But nobody ever shows this side of the stairway. Normal weathering pattern of the staircase. Some areas are more weathered than others. But
全部这个壁画代表王历史家人，他们送贡品、送礼物给那个代理商，代理商到时候在这里是那个代理
nobody
商。
ever shows this area. It's evidence of lost ancient high technology melted staircases.
那个爱西斯也是国王是在前面。
Thousands of years of weathering and people walking up and down the staircase. All right, so for now, that concludes our examination of the Hathor temple here at Dendara. We looked at the melted staircase to falsify that rhetoric. We closely examined the Dendera light bulbs, and I think provided pretty solid evidence that that is not a light bulb. It may be depicting significant knowledge, but it ain't a light bulb. All right, I think we have one more area to investigate before we leave the site for today. Be right back. So now we're back on the outside of the temple. And I already see some things of interest here. Okay, so this is the area where the sacred lake was located. And you can see here this block with the channel in it. Channel looking to have chiseled out possibly a metal inlay. Certainly see some pieces here that had metal butterfly clips. We're gonna go down inside that thing in just a minute. Do you have the flashlight? Okay. Okay, so this appears to be connected into a subterranean source of water. This reminds me very much of what we saw at the Pyramid of Hawara in the Lahoon Oasis. You can see that there's water filling this. So there's still a source of water underneath this temple. Wanna walk down there a little?
This is exactly like Hawara.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't intentional.
Just walking down in here, I get the sense that this is a much older area of the temple complex.
Can you flash down here?
Yep.
Look at all of this pottery.
So it certainly looks like originally the water level in here would have been much higher. Basically all this white salt on the walls is indicative of a much higher water level in here. Alright, so now we're going to go check out the enclosure around the sacred lake. We kind of had to sneak back in here real quick.
I'm so glad we did.
Alright, and to conclude our expedition for today here, switch cameras with me. You film me, and I'll film you, your favorite adventure duo. Ancient Odysseys in the Land of Chem.
Team Awesome.
And we'll walk over here to this enclosure surrounding the sacred lake. All right, you first.
This was such a cool day. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
So this entire trip has kind of been a celebratory experience for another successful Land of Chem tour. And we'll be hosting another one in November of 2024. So if you're interested in joining on the second 2024 tour, please send me an email. contact@thelandofchem.com, subject line November tour,
and I will send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. This area here again was known as the Sacred Lake, and you can see by the stairs that it certainly intends that people were intended to have access into this lake. I mean,
Let's go down there.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking. All right, you first.
Okay. Yellovina. Look at these ancient stairs.
Because I want to see what's inside of
Wow.
these little housings back here. Go ahead.
Careful.
So again, here we have some more erosion on these stairs. People walking up and down these things.
For millennia.
Into the water. And I'm sure having wet shoes or wet feet make the erosion much worse or much faster. Alright, so came down here because I noticed these little enclosures that are at the bottom of the staircase. Also, I can smell and hear bats in here. Oh shit. There's a huge family of bats in there that I just disturbed. I was not about to walk down in there. Man, I'm gonna tell you, a bat cave and an area with bats, it smells absolutely nothing like the Red Pyramid. Absolutely not even close. Red Pyramid, pure chemical ammonia. Down in here, smells like rat poop. You wanna go in there? Just when you walk around the corner. Just know already that there's a huge family of bats down in there. Here, take this and shine it around the corner.
Should I be scared?
Well, you already know it's there. I didn't when I walked around the corner. And they all started flapping their wings.
I hear them chirping.
Yeah, so just look and then get the hell out of there.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Probably 100 of them back there.
There's probably 100 bats in there. And so these little caverns are going down. So clearly there would have been a time period where the water level in here fluctuated. So at some point it would be lower below this enclosure. At other points it would rise to where it filled the enclosure. So perhaps during the inundation of the Nile River, it would flood and fill up this entire enclosure. But then when the Nile River receded, the water level would fall, but they could still access that subterranean water through these little alcoves. Oh, there's all sorts of critters crawling around in here. I just saw a lizard crawl into.
I like purple.
Yep, there's a little gecko in there. They have these really cool, yeah, same thing that we just saw, access to a subterranean water source. They have these really cool kind of translucent orange looking lizards all around Egypt. All right, so now that we're standing here in the middle of what would have been a water-filled artificial lake, all right, let's switch cameras again here.
This is
All right, so
fun.
now say your outro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our expedition.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our expedition to the Dendera Temple Complex, where we investigated the anomalies in the Hathor Temple.
What she said. All right, so stay tuned for more. Please subscribe to The Land of Chem and Ancient Odysseys, and we'll see you next time.
Masalema.
All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 58 from the Temple of Hathor in Dendera. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I have some absolute bangers in the queue upon my return to Egypt. So if you're interested in the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, please subscribe to The Land of Chem here on YouTube. Don't forget, click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please give it a like, comment, share, and stay tuned. If you want to help support this channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage, check out the Land of Chem members only channel and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for food reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's episodes. I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to The Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.